Okay, hello. Hello, Transtubers, people of the internet, YouTube weirdos, and all of other lovely people I've missed out. I'm Luna, and this is the third time I've tried doing this because, well, my computer's aggravating. And it's took me until now to realise you can actually record straight onto YouTube. Didn't realise this. I'm clever like that. And the audio is actually a lot better on YouTube. So it's probably going to come out really loud, actually, not going to lie to you, so you might have to turn it down. But yes, I am here to talk to you about gender identities and all the sort of things you don't actually know about. Because even though it's the 21st century, people have no clue whatsoever. Which is just weird and strange. But yeah. I identify as transgender, and officially I'm your Sunday girl, which means I'll be uploading every Sunday for like ever. No, my name is Luna. Full name Luna Emily Johns. Don't try and steal that name. It's my name. Now, I identify as transgender. I came out like 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. But I'm starting to really get into the whole looking female and dressing female and not feeling uncomfortable anywhere I go or anything like that, because I used to. I used to feel really uncomfortable about it because you're not used to it. Hang on, is this even recording? Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're just not used to dressing the way you like to dress, and it feels alien to you, and at the end of the day, you're just like, it's weird. Really weird. Because it's like, it's the very thing that makes you happy, but there are so many people out there who really crap about it. Like, if you go over YouTube and just look at all the trans blogs and stuff, all the video blogs that people have been doing, there's so much hate on there, and you're just like, why? It's the 21st century, get a grip. I mean, people are still aren't even okay with like lesbian, gay or bisexual people, let alone alternative gender identities. Oh, let's throw that into the big pot, confuse the hell out of people. There's nothing to be confused about. At the end of the day, they're just people. We are just people. I am just a person. If you can find find a reason that I'm not a person, please do it. I freaking dare you. Make it a weekly thing. Just try and pick a reason at me that I'm not human. Yeah, I don't follow the sort of ideas that were created by the Bible. At the end of the day, that's because I'm not Christian. I don't believe in the Bible. I think it's all a load of tosh. But that's my opinion, isn't it? So deal with it. And being trans in the 21st century is not a breeze. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking of coming out, I'm not going to lie to you at all. I refuse to lie to you. It's not fun. Even when you start passing, it gets complicated. Especially if you haven't got a very nice family, or you've got all sorts of issues, like you live in a bad neighbourhood. Because, I mean, the way I'm treated around my neighbourhood and my family, I'm actually having to move. Because people just aren't nice about it. People can't deal with it. No matter how hard you try, it's impossible. Like, you can't change the minds of all the bigots that you live by. It doesn't work. And I really wish I could change their minds, but you can't. People are as stubborn as horses. They really are. Because at the end of the day, they have their belief system, and that's what they're going to stick to. But this kind of video is there to educate the ones that at the end of the day, are quite happy to fold their opinions into different ways. But people try and look at transgenderism, and like creating words there. People like to look at alternative gender identities and look at them in a psychological way, in a sort of doctorish way, because you might have been trained to do that, or it might be your job or something. But at the end of the day, you've got to stop looking at it like it's some kind of disease. I hate the fact that it's actually called gender identity dysphoria. It's not a fucking disease. There's something wrong with me, other than the fact that I'm in the wrong body. Explain to me how that's a dysphoria. Please, give it a fucking go, because I'm pretty damn stubborn, actually. But there's just nothing wrong with me, really. But because I'm seen as different, I'm automatically seen as wrong or weird. Like, even my family very openly turn around to me and say, "Oh, you're weird." And if I say something like the other day, for example, I was having a really long conversation with people down the shop, and I spoke to my next door neighbour for the first time in 5 years. And then the comment I got back wasn't, "Wow, that's actually really good." It was, "Were you dressed normal?" Sorry, normal? I'm pretty sure a famous doctor or psychiatrist said at one point, "Find me a person who can 100% define themselves as normal, and we'll strap them to a table and experiment on them, because there is no such thing as normal." And anybody who actually turns around to you and says, "Oh yeah, I'm normal," tell them, slap them. Slap them around the face, because they aren't. No one's normal. There is no such thing as normal. There's mainstream, and there's alternative, and there's a bit different, but that's different to a majority. Normal is technically, if you want to be really, really pedantic, normal is just a majority. If in one particular room it's full of trans people, or people who identify as alternative gender identities, then the normality, the majority of that room, it would be normal to have an alternative gender identity. So if one cisgendered person walked in, then they would be considered abnormal. That's what normality is. Which is why it aggravates me so that I get branded as abnormal when really I'm just a minority. But then again, people can't even deal with other forms of ethnic groups or religious groups or different types of racial groups. So how the hell do I expect to get equal treatment? I'm pretty sure about 2 years after people realise that actually being Muslim's fine, I'll be treated okay. When people start realising racism is actually pretty damn wrong, trans people will get some kind of equal rights a couple of years after. Unless, of course, they just draw the line at that. Which wouldn't surprise me, actually. There's a ton of bigots. But as a trans person, you do have to figure ways out to get around these bigots and to stop being so sad about things, or getting down because you met a dickhead who threatened you or something. You just have to find ways around it. And I mean, I have my own personal ways. I sit down and I play guitar forever and ever and ever until I've bashed out all the anger and insecurity, and then I feel happy again. Well, not happy so much, just sort of numb. But feeling numb is better than feeling depressed. And that's something that I will definitely recommend to any people who are identifying as being trans. You need a coping mechanism. If you don't have a coping mechanism, you won't cope, and you'll be crushed. Because people don't respond to you saying, "Please don't do that," because they just take it a bit further. So you need something to do when you get home to make you feel better. Stick a film on, write it down, play a musical instrument, sing your heart out, scream into a pillow. play Xbox, play PlayStation, anything. Anything is better than sitting there and wallowing in the fact that you have just been insulted, had things thrown at you, or you're just genuinely upset. There's nothing you can do about these people. These people aren't going to go away. And at risk of sounding like the most pessimistic person on the planet, you can't do anything to stop them. We can publish the fact that we're angry at these people. We can picket certain places. We can protest about how poor our rights are. But that's about as far as we can actually go. We can't change the opinions of the common everyday bigot. Because at the end of the day, have you ever turned around to a person on the street who's just insulted you and tried having a conversation with them? It doesn't work. You can't ask them why they're being like that, because in actual fact they don't really know. I mean, yeah, you can put it down to their insecurities and the fact that they're probably not too comfortable, or they've just never seen somebody like you before, so they feel like they have to insult you. But you can't change their opinion. And if you try, you're a bit of a fool. Either that or you're like some kind of hypnotist. And I'm not trying to depress you all. I'm just coming out with the truth, and that's what you're going to get from me. I've been asked to talk to you every single week about what it's like to be trans. And I'm going to give it to you straight. Because if I turned around to you and said, hey, being trans is fine, don't worry, just ignore all the bigots and you'll be fine. Yeah, that works to an extent, but you can't ignore them forever. Can't run away from your problems forever. You're going to find a bigot. They're going to be a douche. And you have to get past it. Because the amount of times I've caught myself wallowing in self-pity every time I've been shouted at, screamed at, given death threats, had things thrown at me, etc., etc. The amount of times I've caught myself wallowing in that is actually quite sad. Because I'm letting these pathetic losers get me down. At the end of the day, their opinion really doesn't matter. At all. They don't matter, they aren't nice people, and yes, we should ignore them. But you need a coping mechanism, so that is my tip for the week. I'll try and get one of them out every week, because, you know, that's quite encouraging. But yeah, my tip for the week is get a coping mechanism, because if you don't, you might as well just throw the towel in now. You need it. And you don't just need one, because one day you might be really, really fed up, and that coping mechanism might be the exact opposite of what you want to do. Like, I have a few things. I have guitar and I have writing, and those two normally keep me quite solid. But if not, I'll bum around on Xbox, because, you know, I'm addicted to Skyrim. But you need a coping mechanism, so I'm going to leave you on that. It was great ranting to you all for about 14 minutes. I hope you aren't too bored stiff. And hopefully, next week, I'll have a decent microphone. I don't have to look like I'm on stage. But yeah, thank you all for listening. Goodbye.